Welcome everybody to Pinfalls and Passports. For those who don't already know, this is a podcast for people just like you who love the sport of professional wrestling and for members of our WWE Travel Community Discord server. Not a member of the WWE Travel Community? Come and join one of the fastest growing pro wrestling communities online. You can find the Discord invite link here in the podcast bio. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Pinfalls and Passports and TikTok at Pinfalls_Passports. And please don't forget to follow and subscribe to this podcast to keep up to date with all the things involved in the wacky world of pro wrestling. My name is Daddy Dom, and I am joined today by my AEW in-house expert, Mirah, for this AEW recap episode. Mirah, how you doing?
Pretty good. It's Friday. It's Halloween today when we're recording. Happy Halloween for all our
Happy
viewers
Halloween.
and such.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for the weekend, and I'm excited to talk about what is it? Fright night, Dynamite.
Fright night, Dynamite. That's right. Yeah, lots to unpack from this episode. There was a lot going on. We had the start of the women's tag tournament. We had some matches with some real implications and that are putting the card together for Full Gear. Lots going on Dynamite. So let's start. We began with Orange Cassidy and Darby versus the Death Riders. Obviously, Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia. What a crazy match to start the show with. It was a trick or treat tornado match, if I've got that right, which basically means anything goes. And of course, you know, with anything goes matches with Darby, it was about 5 minutes into the show before we got to see Darby do something really crazy.
Yes.
Setting Wheeler up on a chair, diving through the middle ropes and directly onto him. But yeah, absolutely insane match, as you'd expect from these guys. What are your thoughts on this one?
I liked it. It kicked off the show, high energy. Everyone knows the story between Darby, the Death Riders, everything like that. So I think it was a good way to start off this week. Also with Daniel Garcia and Wheeler, they actually have been a pretty good tag team. I think this is honestly helping Daniel and Wheeler, in all honesty. I like it. I don't know how the Death Rider story ends, but I'm glad to see them being used appropriately.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it was a fun match. Obviously, we had a coffin drop from the railings onto the Death Riders pretty short into the match as well. But then I think we had Darby running off the barrier, delivering a diving drop kick into Garcia. It was pretty crazy. Cassidy and Wheeler continued fighting in the crowd. Darby sets up for a coffin drop in the ring on Garcia, but then Wheeler pulls his legs from under him. He took a really hard drop on that one to the outside. What else do we have? We had frog splash or some kind of splash through the table onto Orange Cassidy from outside the ring. And then Yuta had Darby tied upside down in the corner and he was just standing on his balls.
I don't know what, like, this was truly a trick or treat match. Like, they were doing what they tend to do best, honestly, in AEW. So I was like, okay, this is how we're kicking it off. Like, they were just doing some crazy shit. Per usual.
Yeah, Darby was obviously in a lot of pain, as you'd imagine you would be if somebody is stomping you in the crotch. But Cassidy gets on trying to save himself, scratching the back of Wheeler Yuta, so he finally gets him off. Darby delivers a coffin drop. Thought we had the win there, but Garcia broke up the pin. After that, Orange Cassidy and Garcia go through the table, which sets up Darby to put Yuta in the Scorpion Deathlock once again for that submission win. Looks like he's taking that move. It's been officially handed over to him by Sting. Now that's the second time. Obviously, we've seen it very recently, and that's how he picks up the win, gets Yuta to tap out there. So, yeah, great, fun, high-energy start to Dynamite. Looks like we had a good crowd in there as well.
Yeah, I would say so. I seen him do the submission, and I was like, okay, this is officially going to be his new finisher, or at least part of it. So I'm like, all right, I'm here for it.
Certainly looks that way. At the end of the day, the rate that Darby is going through his career, there is going to come a point at some point where he's not going to be able to do that coffin drop forever. Right. His body is going to be ruined. So he's going to need some other kind of finishing maneuver that perhaps doesn't require something so crazy and dangerous. Yeah, it makes sense for him to mix it up a bit there. What do we get next, Mirah?
We had the 4-way tag match for the number 1 contenders for the men's tag team championship. But prior to that, we had Don Callis talking to the Young Bucks because he's trying to coerce them into the Don Callis family. He even got their old EVP intro and he
did.
introduced them very kindly. He did a little razzle dazzle, so that was pretty cool to see it, like to start it off. And then you had Jet Speed, you had FTR, and you had Jurassic Express in the match. This match was honestly super high energy, all the spots you were expecting to see. So Kevin Knight, he had the little spill outside the match. I was concerned, and I was like, I hope he's not injured. I really hope he's not injured. And he's not, thankfully. But I know he was on Instagram. I got to bounce back from that. He did not like his performance with it, but he had some great spots. The Young Bucks, they were the super kick machine like they always are, but they super kicked, I think it was Luchasaurus, Dex, and Cash. They super kicked everyone. Honestly, I really thought Young Bucks would take the win here, but I see where the story might be going. But no, this was a great match. I really did enjoy it. Seeing those 4 teams, honestly, every week or on a consistent basis is awesome. And I know they have a big tag team division over there anyway. It's like the more time, the better. I think Jet Speed is almost there. I feel like their time is coming soon, but FTR does take the win. They will be facing Brodito at Full Gear. I'm excited for this. I'm here for it. I think we might know where this might be going, but I'm very excited for that match at Full Gear.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is going to be a stiff challenge for Brodito to they really are putting them up against the sort of top teams. And you're right about the tag division in AEW at the moment. It did have a little bit of a lull, didn't it? When AEW started, it was famous for its sort of tag teams and its tag team matches, but it dropped off a little bit. But they seem to be building the division back up again now. What do we think about the Young Bucks? Do we think they might be tempted by Don Callis' offer to join the family? I think they enjoyed feeling that bit of prestige that they got, that they've been missing for so long.
I feel like they enjoyed it. I just don't know, because there's so much drama with the Don Callis family. The Young Bucks we got our own stuff going on. Maybe we don't want to right now, but possibly it could happen. It could happen.
We will see. And speaking of drama in the Don Callis family, next we had the Don Callis Family Summit. So we had tables set up in the ring. They all came to the ring. We knew we were going to get a new fantastic picture painting reveal, which certainly didn't disappoint. But there was one person missing at this stage. They mentioned it was due to travel complications, but Takeshita did not come down to the ring with the rest of the Don Callis. Don Callis said he's got something important to say. He wants to talk about problems in the family between Okada and Takeshita, and here to dispel the myth that anything's going on. Everything is fine. The only reason Takeshita isn't here is due to travel issues. And then Rocky Romero reveals this new painting of La Familia. I absolutely love these paintings. I wish AEW Shop did these in some sort of poster format or print format or something. We could get one of those on the wall for the front room. This one might have been one of my favorites. We had Don at the front with all his ripping muscles, completely naked, just hiding his private parts with just a robe. Looks absolutely fantastic. Hardy looking a bit weird, the back looking away. Takeshita with a screaming mouth. It looked like, what did it look like? It looked like the front cover of a gay porn gangbang movie, basically. Yeah. Pretty much what it was. Back to good old gay EW.
They never beat the allegations between the men or the women. It just can't get beat.
Loved it. I was absolutely brilliant. So they had a little video package for the family. We had Fletcher on the mic, and Fletcher had this, was it like a pledge of allegiance?
Yeah, it was like I agree speech. It was like, I agree to do this. Yeah. I'm going to help my brothers in arm, no matter if I get hurt, that type of thing. I was like, oh, okay. And
Loved
then boom.
It. But he didn't quite finish his little speech, because Takeshita himself, the man with the travel issues, was in the building. In fact, he had made it and made his way, and not looking very happy about it, down to the ring, which forces an immediate face-off with Okada. Don stands between them, tries to dissolve the situation, starts speaking on the mic saying, I know you're the alpha, I've called you the alpha, but we're now a family of alphas, and sometimes we're going to fall out. How do we succeed? He says, we do what I decide. Then he says to Takeshita, whilst you were the first in, you can also be the last out. But I think he meant the first out. But,
yeah.
Yeah. And then he tells Takeshita quite firmly to shake Okada's hand in the ring. Takeshi doesn't look too impressed at first. Don gets quite angry. He shouts at him, shake his hand, damn it. Shake his hand for me. Please shake his hand. So Takeshi does, in fact, offer his hand to Okada, but talk through what happens next.
Takeshi, he's like, all right, I'm putting my pride aside for the family. For the family.
La famille.
And then that damn Okada does his infamous middle finger and he's smiling. The family gets up, try to make sure they don't fight or anything. And then next up we hear that it'll be Okada and Takeshi teaming on Collision to show them that they actually can work together as a family.
Yeah, because that worked out well last time. Yeah.
Right, exactly. I don't know what happened. I don't know if one of them leaves the family because they're like, what's the point in this? Or it's just going to be a series of things that's happening. I truly just don't know. And then it's going to be the big blow point. I don't see the family or at least either of them leaving anytime soon, though. It's just going to be a long-term story.
Yeah, and if it is, I have a feeling it's going to be Okada is the one that's going to be leaving. I think he's the one. He's the one having the most fun at the minute. He feels like he's in control of the situation, but at the same time, he's the one that really, really wants and is going to want that title that is currently strapped around Takeshi's waist, the IWGP heavyweight title, the belt that really Okada himself put on the map. I think that's what he's really eyeing up. And I think in order to get towards that title, he's going to have to separate himself from the family. So that's what we'll see. But we'll see where that goes. And it'll be interesting to see on Collision how they get along, because I have seen AEW have announced who they will be facing on Collision. And it's another team that aren't exactly getting along at the moment. So they have paired them. They're going to be fighting against Anthony Bowens and what's his other name?
Max Caster,
the best wrestler in the world.
Let's go, Max. Sure.
Yeah, this should be interesting because we know that, in fact, it was only last week that Anthony Bowens said, we will never tag again. We are never going to have a tag match. And they agree they're not. They do not want to be called the Acclaimed. They're not getting back together. And they hate each other. And they're against another two people that apparently hate each other. So it'd be very interesting to see how that pans out. So I'm looking forward to that. What do we get next?
So next we had a promo. It's promoting Mercedes Moné versus Olympia for the CMLL title on Collision this Saturday. Yes. So that was really good. And then following, we had this segment with Renee and Kris Statlander, basically just building towards the Mercedes and Statlander match at Full Gear. Yeah. So that's just going to be insane. Again, we're building up Kris to be the AEW original in this, and in my opinion, Kris should retain. Kris should beat Mercedes into oblivion, not gonna lie, because she has 2 over on her already, so she has to get that one back, especially as AEW Women's Champion. But we go on, and we have Jon Moxley versus Kyle O'Reilly.
That's right, the rematch from the week before.
Mm-hmm. And that match started out super technical as we had last week. It's focused on submission because that's Moxley's fear. You've seen Moxley do a mix of brawling, how he tends to brawl, and submission moves. So that was actually really interesting. I think that's where Moxley tends to excel, in my opinion. The blood is just a bonus part, I feel like. And then his nose starts bleeding. Or
I don't know. I wondered if it was that. I think I can't remember what submission it was, but he got out of a submission. Maybe it was the triangle when Moxley was trying to pile drive him. But then O'Reilly followed up immediately with a knee. Yeah, and it seemed like right after that, his nose was cut. And he looked genuinely pretty pissed off. Not that he ever looks particularly happy, Jon Moxley. But yeah, it was an interesting match. Kyle O'Reilly was trying to make it very technical. It was all about submission. Moxley was trying to turn it into a brawl, but he did then go with the flow a little bit, did a bit of that death jitsu that Moxley has been famous for in the past and known for. We had lots of submission attempts, ankle locks, guillotine chokes, and then we went outside the ring, and Jon Moxley looks to get the upper hand, but O'Reilly counters, gets a guillotine on him. Looks like Jon Moxley, but of course you can't win the match outside the ring.
Nope.
But that guillotine is in tight. Looks like Moxley is going out, but of course Aubrey has been counting, and both competitors get counted out. So this ends in a no contest. So it looks like this feud between Kyle O'Reilly and Moxley hasn't quite sort of finished yet. It's a DQ win up to Kyle O'Reilly. I think this is great for O'Reilly because he's really not done much since joining AEW, let's be honest. And there was a time I got really worried about him about 12 months ago when he was coming out. I think Adam Cole was still around and that sort of thing. He was just coming out. He was just wearing just street clothes, basically. He wasn't even making any effort to put anything on. Like, he knew he wasn't going to be doing anything. He looked really disheartened and disinterested. And I thought, I can't see him hanging around for much longer. But we know how talented he is, and it seems like they're really trying to spotlight him a little bit more now. So that was great. But then after that, Marina Shafir comes in the ring. She hits Aubrey Edwards for some reason. I don't know what Aubrey done wrong apart from count them out.
She didn't even do anything. She literally did nothing.
Where's the outrage? Where's the fine? Come on.
I'm like, the $50,000 fine.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
But yeah, that was just something that happened. Claudio comes out. They attack Kyle. We get Roddy Strong coming out to the rescue, but then the rest of the Death Riders come out to attack them down. And then we get the save made by Darby Allin, Mark Briscoe, and Cassidy, and the Death Riders start to retreat. What happens then, Mirah?
So Darby goes on the mic. He starts talking. Briscoe talks his shit. And then Briscoe says, "Yo, Orange, tell them what we was thinking about." And Orange Cassidy just looks like, fuck. I'll say it. Fuck it. Blood and guts. And then I'm just like, yes. And we expected this was where it was going to go between them. And like you pointed out earlier, this Jon Moxley and Kyle O'Reilly, like the last 2 weeks has been really good for Kyle. I don't know if this is something like they've been putting together to try to get Kyle more involved, bring up his stock a little bit. But this has really been helping. But I'm excited for this Blood and Guts match. Honestly, I'm more excited for this Blood and Guts match than I have in the past, I want to say. I'm very excited to see them with the feud again. We still got Darby Allin amongst the Death Riders. This has been going on for over a year and a half at this point. So I don't know when it truly ends, but that's fine. It is what it is. But we'll see, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think they carry on this thing with Darby for a little bit. It's still got a little bit of life in it, and it makes sense for the conglomeration to get involved at this stage. Yeah. And maybe now is not the right time for Darby to be hitting the main event scene, considering the sort of Adam Page run that we're having and the type of run that it is. It doesn't make sense to elevate them to there at the moment. But yeah, this should be fun. I think the idea was that it was all looked like it was heading towards a women's Blood and Guts match,
right?
Perhaps over a men's one. I thought that's where we were going. I mean, maybe we'll get both. Who knows? But yeah, first one in the books. Blood and Guts, by the looks of things, anyway. I'm sure it's going to happen. It is the men's Blood and Guts match, and that's in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Should be fun. So next, we've got Moné. We see her attacking Statlander backstage and drags her out into the arena. They start brawling down the entrance ramp. Statlander throws Moné into the ring, but just as she goes to attack, we get a sneak attack from Mercedes' friend, Athena. It comes out, and also Mercedes' tag partner soon in the tag tournament. So that gets Moné the advantage over Statlander, who starts the beatdown. In fact, they both start the beatdown on Kris Statlander. Willow and Harley come down to make the save. And it's Willow and Harley, I believe, as well, that will be facing Moné and Athena in the first round of the tag tournament. I'm guessing that's probably next week on Dynamite. We'll see. And then...
Yeah, so that is next week. I know you got a lot of alpha female involved in this, and I don't know how this is going to end from anybody's perspective, but I'll see.
No, it's really interesting, and I think they've done quite well, considering most of these tag teams are just kind of put together on a whim. I think they've done quite well to not rush straight into it, build these teams a little bit before, build a little bit of synergy between them, and build a little bit of, make it feel like they really are tag teams. And I think at this point, you can see most of these teams are in with a shot. I really have no idea who's going to win these tag belts.
No, for real. I don't know. I thought I had an idea and they dispelled that one real quick.
Yeah. And that actually happened next. And I'm glad it did. I was hoping we were going to see, we got the Sisters of Sin, the opening round match of the tag tournament, the Sisters of Sin, Sky Blue and Julia Hart versus Queen Amanita and Jamie Hayter. Good match. Great match, actually. We saw the chocolate kisses on Sky Blue from Amanita quite early on. A lot of back and forth. Amanita looked very impressive, I thought.
She does.
And there was a lot of good tandem tag team work from Amanita and Hayter. They were doing the sort of in sync sort of suplexes and the tag team moves together. Gave me the impression that, maybe they're moving forward with what you thought was going to happen, them winning. But to throw a spanner in the works on Halloween, there was something hiding under the bed. It was a toxic spider in the way of Thekla, who was hiding under the ring, comes out, spears Jamie Hayter, leaving Amanita alone in the ring 2-on-1 with the Sisters of the Sin, who close out the match and move on in the tournament. Which moves us on to a backstage segment where we found out some interesting news about one of the tag teams, right?
Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. Unfortunately, Ford is in a sling, so she's injured and she's out of the tournament. I guess we don't know how long her injury is going to be, so we wish her the best in her recovery. And she actually had great momentum too. Like, I know she's been working her ass off, so I'm like, damn, like it just sucks that she's not able to showcase that, because she's been a part of the women's tag team. She's been one of the ones to, I guess, honestly help trailblaze it as well, along with Megan. But Megan says she's looking for a new partner. Out comes Mina Shafir.
Yeah. Surprising one, this one.
Yeah, I mean, it approaches and offers her services, and Megan Bayne accepts it. And you see, like, Penelope, what the fuck? What the fuck? The show has to go on. I think Megan and Shafir will actually be a really good tag team. I think they'll be really good together. They're powerhouses. I feel like we don't see Shafir as much wrestling in AEW. Like, I know she wrestles on the indie scenes a lot. I know she was an indies champion of some promotion at one point.
Yeah.
But it's going to be nice to see her wrestle on a weekly basis instead of just being like the lead person or like one of the people in like the Death Riders. And then Moxley comes out and he's oh yeah, he was very excited about this. I'm excited to see what they do. I know they're going to do amazing. And I think this will also help Shafir break out of that Death Riders mold as well. But
couldn't agree more. Really want to see more from Marina Shafir. Said she just hasn't been in the situation where it's made sense really for her to have sort of any feuds, especially because the Death Riders, they're known for their real sort of ultra violence, aren't they? And that doesn't really translate well if with women feuds. It's always been against the main sort of male stars of the division. So yeah, great for her. Be interesting to see what happens. I think Penelope said that it was her UCL that she'd injured, which I don't really know much, but I guess it's one of these muscles in here or something.
Yeah.
I don't know how serious that is, but yeah, wish her all the best and hope for a speedy return. So that led us in to our main event. They'd announced this earlier on at the beginning of the show that the winner of this four-way match would go on to face Adam Page for the AEW World Championship at Full Gear. Talk us through this, Mirah. Who do we have here?
So we had Ricochet, Samoa Joe, Hook, and Bobby Lashley. And just all those names that they are looking to Hook to be like that up-and-coming pillar. So you already know, like, that's one of your guys. Ricochet, we know what he can do. He's super talented when he was in WWE, New Japan, everywhere. Bobby Lashley, the same thing. He was in UFC, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Don't think it was UFC, but he was definitely in, I think it was Strikeforce or definitely one of the other promotions.
Yeah,
he did
MMA.
MMA. I think he's undefeated, actually. No one ever,
Really?
I don't think anyone beat him. He had 3 or 4 MMA bouts.
Okay.
Someone's probably going to correct me and tell me I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that nobody beat Bobby Lashley.
It's Bobby Lashley, so I can believe it. Like, he has his talents. He was in the military, WWE. He's just a big guy. Samoa Joe, your Indies guy, rugged. He's been in the WWE. He's been everywhere. He's won the championships. So this was a good main event. Now, a lot of people will say, we already knew what was going to happen. Yes, but the match itself cooked, okay? The match cooked. So you had a face-off between Lashley and Joe. Just seeing that happen, you're like, your options are endless. Joe is retiring soon. Lashley may be also retiring soon. But to see those two behemoths look at each other, that's another potential feud in the future.
Absolutely.
You got Ricochet jumping off the ropes. You got Hook. He's just very intense. That's just Hook anyways when he's in the ring. And then Ricochet gets the upper hand. Ricochet was jumping out the ring. He took down Lashley, I think. He took down Joe.
Yeah.
And then he did, what was it, the 540 or the...
The shooting star press, first of all, on Hook.
And he thought that was it. I thought that was it, not you.
Yeah. Hook kicked out. Ricochet goes to load up the spirit gun, but Hook counters that into a rear naked choke. Joe breaks up that submission with a senton.
Yes.
Picks up Hook, gets him in the muscle buster, but then gets speared by Lashley.
Yes, oh, God.
And then you think, Lashley's going to win. He pins you, but that's broken up with the 540, like you said, from Ricochet. So, yeah, that was some chaotic sort of action. It was crazy, real back and forth. Lashley, but then, and as I think we guessed this was going to go this way, Lashley and Ricochet, they've had this sort of beef going on for quite a while. There was a distraction. Ricochet hits Lashley on the back of a chair, which turns Lashley's attention away to Ricochet. This gives Joe the opportunity to lock the Coquina clutch in on Hook, who does tap out. So we know that this feud will continue, as I think we had thought. Joe will be going to Full Gear to fight again for the second pay-per-view in a row. Adam Page for that title. The Ops come out. They join Joe to celebrate in the ring. And then the next bit is a bit funny. Shivani announces the Fright Night Halloween crew are going to come out. We're going to do this contract signing right away, and we're going to have a toast to the win. Something's going on here.
Right.
We've seen Adam Page before hiding on a costume to surprise people. So Joe immediately thinks that one of these is Adam Page. So they probably beat up all these poor Halloween Fright Night volunteers who really they all had wrestling boots on, so I'm sure they were. But yes, it turns out there was another surprise, another fright for Samoa Joe, because Hangman Page was in his Halloween costume and he was dressed as Tony Schiavone, which was a clever ruse. I liked it. It was funny. He turns around, attacks Joe. I'm not quite sure how Page knew that Joe was going to win the match and how he managed to plan this Tony Schiavone costume so far in advance. But maybe that was what he was planning all along. Who knows? I don't know. You tell me. But that's where we're going. I think we're going to see another great match, of course. But this time we're going to see a much more certified heel version of Samoa Joe. And the advantage had been backed up by the Ops, which I think is going to make this match a lot more uncertain with regards to who the winner is here. What do you think of Joe's chances this time around?
So, Hangman won the belt back in July. Okay. Honestly, I wouldn't be upset if Joe won this belt. Okay. It would build up the Ops, in my opinion. Like all three of them. They would be the certified heel trios. I think this is just another stepping stone for Hangman to win again. If they do a rubber match, I think it'll be a stimulation of some sort. Or the Ops are going to be banned at Full Gear. It'll be something like that to even the playing field, I think.
Yeah.
If Joe does win, I'll be very surprised.
I think the first match they had, I think it was pretty obvious. I think we knew that Joe wasn't winning this, but I could potentially see them putting the belt on Joe, even if it's just perhaps for until the next pay-per-view when they have the rubber match and Page gets it back. I could see them potentially doing that for a short period just to get the belt on Joe for a little while at the end of his career, building a bit more interest around the feud. Because I don't think if Adam Page wins this match, even though Joe has the backing of the Ops, I don't see them being able to continue the feud any longer. It won't make sense to do a third match. But if Joe gets that title, it would be interesting. But we will see. We will see what they do. I would like to see it, even if it's just flip-flopping it just for a month or two until the next pay-per-view. I think that'd be interesting and make it a little bit more interesting, but we'll see what they have in store for us. And that was pretty much wrapping up our Dynamite. So good Dynamite, I thought. A good episode of Dynamite. Built a lot of stories, built a lot of progression in the various things they have going on at the moment. The tag, the Full Gear card is looking like it's going to be a really strong card. Looking forward to Collision on Saturday night. Looks like they've got a good show lined up there as well. We've got Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir having their first match. I don't know who that's going to be against, or maybe I do. I have a little idea, but I'm not going to give any spoilers away. We've obviously got the Mercedes Moné versus Olympia for the CMLL title. I can't see Olympia taking that, but it's just good.
Not yet. I think the Monet downfall of the money train is going to be iconic, though.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I feel, like you said earlier, this is going to start to unravel for Monet at Full Gear, because I don't believe she's going to take that belt from Kris Statlander. It's going to remain the one title that she can't quite get her hands on. She can have all the titles in the world, but she can't get the AEW Women's Championship. And that is going to be the start of the downfall of the belt collector of Mercedes Moné, in my opinion. But we will see. We got a trios match lined up as well. Mark Briscoe, Roddy Strong, and Commander against La Faction Oblé, with Sammy Guevara actually in the team on that one. As we mentioned earlier, we got the tag match between Okada and Takeshita. Oh,
your hat came down.
Look at that.
SummerSlam.
Bullet on my head if you're watching on the video stream. Takeshita and Okada against Max Caster and Anthony Bowen. So I am actually really looking forward to that match. So I'm definitely tuning into Collision because I want to see what happens there. And then we've got a rematch, a really exciting match. Bandido against Mascara Dorada 2 for the Ring of Honor World Championship. That is gonna absolutely bang. Really exciting show lineup for Collision. Really excited for AEW at the moment. Some great stuff going on. I know you're looking forward to Full Gear as well, Mirah. You're going to be there in attendance. Is that right?
Yes, I'll be there with Scarlett. I'm very excited. I'm enjoying how they're building up to the card. They're starting very early, which I appreciate. You're seeing the stories unravel. The streets are trying to say that the women's final may include Mercedes doing double duty that night, potentially. I don't want that to happen, but I can see on what happens.
Yes, to the final, they're going to have to, right?
Yeah. I'm very excited about Blood and Guts. I'm curious to see if Jamie Hayter and Queen Aminata losing somewhat leads to that in some sort. Again, we don't really know. I know we have the men's match certified, and that's confirmed, but I would be very excited for a women's Blood and Gut match. That's something they haven't tackled and gotten into yet, and that'll be interesting if we could get that to happen. Then our last pay-per-view after Full Gear, I think, is World End.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
World's End.
Yeah,
it will be.
So I would not mind if they flip-flop that men's belt either. And the reason why I say that, I'm like, it'll bring more to it. I think a lot of promotions, a lot of companies, they're going back to that long-term belt holding with our infamous Roman Reigns type of thing. But you don't need to do that. Like, you can flip-flop the belt. You can build on it, creating stories that people are into. And I feel like people are into the Samoa Joe and Hangman Page story right now. Yeah. And like, I would love for the heel to win. They're fun. So like, they're really fun. So if Joe does pull this out at Full Gear, I think a lot of people will be very happy for him. I don't know if they're going to boo him or cheer him or have a mix of both in Jersey. So we'll see. But no, I'm very excited. AEW, thank you. Thank you right now. I'm interested. I'm invested. So
you got some shows lined up, Mirah, yourself, haven't you? Because I know you're going to Full Gear, but then I'm going to see you very shortly as well in December in a few weeks, right? We're going to DC. We're going to see John Cena's final match. I'm super excited for that trip.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see everybody. I'm very excited. We don't have anything yet. Tomorrow's also Saturday night main event for WWE as well. And the vacant World Heavyweight Championship is on the line. So I'm excited to hear about that.
Another busy weekend of wrestling. You promised me last week that we had a weekend off, and then I completely forgotten it was Halloween Havoc. So we didn't even get a weekend off, did we? No, and we're not getting one off this weekend either. Like you said, we got Saturday night's main event. I don't know whether we're going to see a new World Heavyweight Champion crown there. We will see what happens there. But lots going on in the world of wrestling. Lots to be excited about. Thank you for joining me today, Mirah. This has been your AEW recap episode. We look forward to joining you again next week when we'll be bringing you all the results from Collision and Dynamite and the build-up to Blood and Guts and Full Gear. We wish you all a great weekend. Mirah, it's been a pleasure. I'll catch you soon. Thanks so much for today, guys. And don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast for Pinfalls and Passports.